Well, hello, everybody. I am excited tonight to have you listening in on what we're going to be sharing with you because it's really all about the mind shifts that you can have in your entrepreneurial endeavors, especially concerning putting together, creating, and launching your online course. And I'm Dottie Berry, and I've also got with me Miss Jennifer Santoro, aka Coach J, and I'm known as Coach B. How you doing tonight, Jennifer?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. So we're excited about really collaborating and coming together to share with the educator entrepreneurs how to really move things forward. Like, you're in the boat, something happens, the motor goes out, and you better hope you've got a paddle, right? I mean, you got to get some movement going. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I think that's a perfect analogy of how it can feel sometimes as an entrepreneur.
Yeah. We're like mired at the dock. When is this boat leaving? Well, what I say to people is the boat's leaving when you take action. It's not going to, there is nothing that beats action. We can talk all day long, but action really is the thing that creates the energy. And in life, everything is energy. So, Jen, what I want to do is I want to help people understand a little bit about where we're going with being an educator entrepreneur. First of all, I want you, if you're watching this right now, I want you to ask yourself, what is my intention for being here? As we begin to define, first of all, what is a mind shift? And secondly, what is an educator entrepreneur? Well, I define the mind shift as what happens when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired of having a mindset that is stuck. Now, Jen, I don't know if you remember it, but there's a movie called Network back in 1976. Now, I don't even think you weren't even born, but maybe you have seen that movie. Have you ever seen it before?
I actually have not seen it yet, although I'm feeling like I need to add it to my Netflix account.
Absolutely. Well, here's the thing. And it's not so much about what this gentleman's talking about, but it's more geared, what I'm sharing with you right now, is he's just fed up. He is so fed up. And he asks everybody just to get up and go to your window and hang your head out the window and say, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. And, that's where entrepreneurs really have to get to if they're going to move through the chaos and really have forward momentum, forward action. They have to get so sick and tired of being stuck in a mindset that they're willing to do anything to have a mind shift. Does that make sense to you, Jen?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So, that's what we're going to be working on and sharing with you some of the mind shifts that are absolutely critical to be looking at on how you're going to change the mindset that you may already have about things. So, I want to get into first, what is the definition of an educator entrepreneur? Well, I like to say you are the M&Ms. Well, everybody loves M&Ms, right? Well, you're the Mavericks and you're the Mavens. You're the individuals who have this message, something inside of you and a skill to share with the world, an expertise. And the truth is, you're not really free until you do that. You have a vision that just goes beyond the ordinary. And your goal is to really share that out with people. But again, the processes that a lot of the experts and the gurus have been sharing with you, quite frankly, they don't work. And that's why you're stuck and you're thinking it's all you and I'm bad and I'm not okay. And, you're feeling less than and all those kind of things. So we want to get that straightened out for you because it really entails looking beyond the normal constraints of things and just really how you do things and looking at what resources you can bring to the table. So, one thing I want to share is that a lot of people who are entrepreneurs, Jen, have you ever heard entrepreneurs say, well, I think outside the box?
Yes, yes. I hear that quite a bit in my line of work.
Well, the next time they say that, I want you to ask them this question. It will stop them dead in their tracks. And it's very simple. 2 words. What box? And I'm going to tell you what, watch and look, get your camera out because you're going to see a look on their face that just blows your mind. Because see, the reality is this is a mind shift now. You've been priding yourself, been patting yourself on the back about, oh, I'm an outside the box thinker. But there is no box. And so how can you think outside of something that literally is an illusion and doesn't exist? Because what happens, Jen, when we believe that there's a box, then we just expand our box and we're still inside of it. And we think, oh, I'm going to think outside the box, but the box just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So we're going to ask people to truly have a mind shift and begin to think in a different way. So here's a more traditional way of looking at an entrepreneur. And that is, you are visionaries whose new approaches to solving problems and catalyzing massive improvement creates a new way of carrying out that vision, redefining our sense of what is possible, and changing the dynamics of an entire industry in the process. Jen, can you think of anything that happened that way where people were really changing the dynamics of what happened?
Oh my gosh. I think that is hands down one of the best definitions of entrepreneurship I've ever heard. First of all, I want to take a moment for that. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
And absolutely. I mean, the first entrepreneur that comes to mind is Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, he was somebody who really coined the thought process that we're going to develop technology that people don't even know that they need or want, and we're going to give it to them before they even know it. And
it gives me chills.
I mean, it completely changed the course of humanity. I mean, it was so big and such major shifts that came from that vision and from that implementation. And so I would say that that's the first example that comes to mind right off the bat, listening to that level of a definition.
Yeah, and Jen, would you agree he truly was an educator entrepreneur? Because educating all the time.
Absolutely. He completely prescribed by education marketing, education technology. I mean, across the board, you can tell one of his main values was learning and educating the public.
Yeah. So let's get back and sort of take a little bit of a deeper dive into some of this. But I want to share a quote, first of all, and this quote just amazes me, actually. It says, "The reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man." And that is George Bernard Shaw. Now, I absolutely love that. And Jen, what I want to encourage you, me, and all of us to do is let's get unreasonable. What do you think about it?
Oh my gosh, I'm so in. 2 feet right off the edge, all in. I absolutely love that quote. I'm so glad that you brought it forward. I want to get it painted on my wall.
Yeah, I know. I agree. I think it's great.
That's how progress is made. That's how we evolve. That's what it is it's consistent pushing, and I love that. It's the I mean, I love looking back at history and you think about and reflect about who are the people who have had major impact. I mean, it's a smaller part of the population, but they've made the greatest impact upon humanity.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I want to just share a little bit about Jen. I mean, she's, an outstanding coach, and we're not here just to go on and on about what we've done, but we do have to bring some experience to the table. And Jennifer's coaching model was actually adopted by Florida State University. So that's quite a coup, a feather in her cap, as you say. And what she's developed, though, is a tremendous solutions focus. I want you to just hear that for a second. A solutions focused process model for entrepreneurship. And I have I have one called the chaos theory of entrepreneurship, which kind of accomplishes some of the same parameters or same aspects. But I love that we bring things together and say it in slightly different ways, but recognizing that as entrepreneurs, you're going to run into some distinctively Well, there's distinctive things you're going to run into. Let me put it that way. Number one is, if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to run into problems. I mean, we are problem solvers. Is that right, Jen?
Absolutely. That's my favorite definition of entrepreneurship. You're a problem solver in its core. And I also, too, I want to give a shout out to my co-author of the coaching model that was adopted. It wasn't just me. It was a collaborative effort. And that was something that Dottie and I have talked about, is always giving credit to those who help us along the way.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do that, but the solutions focused entrepreneurship model is something that is now I'm bringing forward, and that is brand new. And it was amazing, the timing. As I was ready to release it, that was when I met Dottie. And as I have been talking about it and presenting about it, and she's been observing and supporting me, it's just been amazing about how she has said, Jen, look at what I've created too. And it's so in alignment, and you just know that things are right in collaboration when something like that happens. And so it's such an honor, Dottie, to be working with you. And now, it's like we say, the group is stronger than the single. And so by us bringing our two tools together, I believe it's making what we're going to be offering our viewers, so much stronger than we ever could have done, I believe, on our own. And so I'm very excited for that.
Absolutely. I mean, the song "No Man is an Island," couldn't hold more true than what we're proceeding to do together. And that's one of the things I love, is collaborating. So I'm really excited that we've got the chance to do that, because I know that our skills together are going to help you, the entrepreneurs out there, the educator entrepreneurs who are saying, hey, I want to create a course. I'm not quite sure how to go about it. But, Jen, one of the things I want to talk about now is really just about, reverse engineering so many things. That we say, let's get unreasonable, okay? Now let's reverse engineer processes. I've been doing that for 35 years. I've always had some unique kind of way of looking at things differently and uniquely. And so I think that it's really important that we reverse engineer processes and proven systems in order to be in control of our destiny. And quite frankly, being in control of our destiny is my definition of freedom, and let's just say that when we're in control of that, we're delivering epic freedom. Okay. So let's just kind of, as you say, Jen, and I love this, let's dive in. Okay. Yeah, we talked about one of those reverse engineerings, and that's the way we think outside the box. Does that make you think a little bit differently? And I got to give credit, Jen. I was at a party one time in Canada, and was kind of referring to myself as an outside the box thinker. And this lady, who is a top-notch bodybuilder, looked at me very quietly, said, "What box?" Jen, there's not many times that people literally stop me in my tracks and give me that kind of aha moment. Does that hit you that way?
Oh, absolutely. It was something where I had a moment, and I don't remember exactly where I heard it the first time, but somebody had said it to me along the way, along the journey.
Uh-huh.
And I just remember it just completely, it was we say the mind blow. Like, it was literally like I felt my brain just like it could not, it was like, does not compute for a second, and then it was very much the moment of saying, yeah, that's true. That's completely true. And then all of a sudden there is this new reality. And that's what I love are those moments where we start realizing, there's another reality that we can explore. And there's so much more opportunity in that reality. So yeah, let's go be unreasonable there.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, it's like the analogy of the iceberg, and what we see is very small on the iceberg compared to what we can't see. So we have to work at ways to really consciously become aware of blind spots, of the things we can't see. And so another thing that I reverse engineered was discover your epic code. That's a reverse engineered personality profiling methodology that enables you to actually finally implement the wise words of Tony Robbins, which is let your prospect determine your presentation. I mean, it sounds great, but how are we going to do that? And so I want to encourage people to just go down below and click where it says discover your epic code, because you're going to be able to get in under 90 seconds to be able to discover that. And then you're going to get what's called Epic TAP, and TAP stands for Total Assessment Personality Profile Report. And you're going to be able to get that, a complete report. And if you had the Epic tool and you could, you know, give people a link yourself, then you would discover about them in ways you didn't know instantaneously within 90 seconds of giving it to them. And that would change the way you could communicate with them, because you could speak in their epic language. So all of these things, when we reverse engineer, it begins to open up possibilities that we wouldn't even have thought about. So Jen, that brings us down to talking about the 4 mind shifts that I want to really get to. And this is, what if we reverse engineer publishing and all aspects within publishing and digital marketing? And I guess, you know, I'd say, well, what do I mean by that? Well, right now, this is the real era of digital marketing and online education. Now, Jen, I want to ask you this. Can you really grasp and, you know, get some chill bumps going over the fact that we had the opportunity to participate in a model that Forbes predicted back in 2014, when it was $54 billion industry, that it would go to $107 billion in 2015. I mean, my goodness, there is no telling what's going to happen in 2016. How does that make you feel? I mean, does that sound like opportunity to you?
It really is. Can you tell us a little bit about what it was that they were referring to, which industry?
Of online education.
Online education.
Right, online education.
Yeah, I just really wanted that to be the emphasis of what people are understanding of that particular statistic, is that the Forbes has been predicting it is going skyrocketing as an absolutely.
And here's the cool thing. I've actually, when you all click below, discover your epic code, or, you know, calculate your Epic Freedom Quotient, and we're going to go over that just a little bit because we've talked about it in another video, you're going to be able to get some information from us. I mean, we are going to give you so much value. I can't even begin to tell you what you're going to receive, but I will put a link to that article, and because I think it's really fascinating to, you know, see these statistics and, you know, see where they came from and what's going on with them. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about this process in the digital world. So Jen, would you agree that what has happened in the past was everybody was encouraged, if you had some expertise, to write a book, right?
Yep, that has definitely been the trend. It's that if you have expertise, make sure that you write a book. It really, I mean, it's very powerful. It really helps distinguish you as an authority, and it's great marketing.
Yeah, and you know, I will say, if you have some kind of expertise and somebody comes to you because you're a celebrity and says, we're going to give you $1 million advance if you write this book, well, by all means, write your book, okay? But I'm talking about, Jen, is the normal everyday person who has expertise that nobody knows about. But I'm going to tell you what, there is a way to package it and put it together so that you can make a great income sharing with others what you know how to do that they don't know how to do. You know, it's all about finding the problem. We've talked about that, finding the pain point, putting it together with your passion, and getting it out the door. So, you know, you might not have the luxury of waiting around for somebody to Harper to come and say, hey, we've got $1 million deal for you, Jen. You're not sitting around waiting on that, are you?
Absolutely not. I want to make my own $1 million.
You want to be proactive, and then you want to make yours and have them come and say, Jen, we'll give you $2 million for doing this. So the point is, what happened next was, you know, a lot of people, you know, there's only so many books that can be published, and, you know, it was kind of like winning the lottery. So some years back, as things began to shift with online and digital, then a cottage industry was born. You know, publish your own book. Well, that grew in from a cottage industry to just huge, publish your own book. So people started going around publishing their own book. The only problem is they had a book, but they had no market, okay? They published something they were interested in, but it didn't necessarily mean anybody else was interested in it. And I want you to just take note, because this is very critical about a mind shift you need to have if you're thinking in terms of putting out your own course. If you put out a course that you're interested in, but nobody else is interested in, doesn't matter how passionate you are about it, it's not going anywhere. On the other hand, if you put out something just because you think people will buy it with a course, eventually you'll just burn out and you'll quit. So what you want to combine is addressing something that aligns with your passion and also comes into play with what people are wanting, needing, etc. Does that make sense when I'm sharing that, Jen?
Yes, it does.
So what comes up for you when you hear that?
So what comes up for me is really I believe that when you are considering creating your own course to be able to offer out for people to learn from, it really is this, it takes a lot of self-reflection first. It takes taking a moment to really think about and reflect on what is it that I'm really passionate about? What is it that I really care about? And then really asking the big question of, okay, well, what about this will be interesting to other people? And why, what are my motivations for offering this course? And when you can really have clarity on that, then what you can do is then really start reflecting on, okay, well, what is it that they're going to care about this? Where's the entry point of knowledge for them? Because I know for me, a lot of times I dive really deep into certain topics, and I get really passionate. And what I've learned is, I can't open with the deep end of the pool. Like it's kind of, people aren't ready to just go all the way to the deep end just yet. So then what it is kind of taking some steps back to be like, okay, well, where's the shallow end? Where's the wade in? Where's the entry point of information that people can really digest and start to get interested about and get excited about, to where they're going to want to go deeper and deeper and deeper. So then we can all play in the deep end of the pool with that information.
Yeah, and that's great, Jim, because that kind of plays back to why we start with a book summary even. Yeah. And also we want to look at, where are the people? And what we've put together for you all, just so you'll know what's coming up, is in our third video of the series on the page that you're looking at with the Epic Toolbox. In that training that we do and the information that we offer you, we're going to actually give you what we call the Epic Blueprint, okay, for discovering your PPC concept. Now, I don't want y'all to freak out and think we're talking about pay-per-click, because you're going to run screaming. But our PPC that we're going to introduce you to and have you locate your PPC concept, your idea, in other words, is your passionate, profitable course concept. You see? Because if you go out there and you don't have that combination of something some people want, and it doesn't matter how passionate about it you are, how much you know about it, you're not going to make anything. And quite frankly, you're going to have a lot more ability to go out there and impact the world if you can also be making some income. All right. That's really, really important in what you're doing. So we want to just, give you an opportunity to take a look at that. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to start with that book summary, and we're going to move from there to what we call an e-vid book. We coined that term, e-vid book, because that e-vid book, rather than just being an ebook, is going to have video in it, not just any video, but some video Jen's going to tell you in a minute. But we'll go from there to the course and then to your published book, if that's what you want. Because with that scenario, so that means taking a mindset about how you do things and shift it into those four mind shifts. Because we're going to have you actually creating the first two in the midst of putting people into your course. And I'm going to tell you why in just a minute, but I want to change it over to you for a second, Jen, and you share with us a little bit about that process of the e-vid book. So the book summary is like the shallow end, okay? And now we're going to move on down in the pool.
Yep, exactly. So the reason why I really connected with this process is because for me, I have been told by many people, they've asked me, Jen, I need your book, because they really are prescribing to what it is that I'm speaking about, because I've been a professional speaker. And for me to sit down and write an entire book has felt very daunting. And I have attempted many times, but I just can't seem to get myself all the way through. And so what I have found, though, is that it's much easier for me to talk about my material first. Mm-hmm. And so what is something natural of a way of being able to record me talking about the material first to be able to make sense of it all? Video. It's been so powerful to actually be intentional about creating educational videos about my material. And all I have to do is do what I do best, which is talk about it. And then it's recorded. So then I'm able to then sit and listen to it and even have it transcribed for me. And then I have a starting point for the book, which is wonderful. So what we've decided to do too is, because I have been working with interactive video technology, and then Dottie has been very interested in interactive video technology. And so what we decided to do was say, well, why don't we take these educational videos to the next level and make interactive video education, or education videos that are interactive, meaning that people can click buttons to be able to go back and forth between videos, and some really cool, fun things to be able to interact with us as the instructors. And it's really fun. This is the beauty of technology. It really revolutionizes the way that we can learn and educate. Really becoming educatorpreneurs, to where we can be interacting with our students through video. I mean, how exciting is that? And so this is a way of being able to engage students through what we're calling now an e-vid book, which would be a series of videos that are specific to a topic with different chapters that you want to be educating on, and then being able to have these videos linked together and really make a very unique, fun user experience and viewer experience. And so this is just a great natural next step in the process, right? So we started off by doing what your summary would be, right? And so this summary is ultimately what you can envision being your book summary at the end of the day, of if that is your end goal. But also what your course can be built off of. Then from there, you can take the different topics and record yourself and your material. And then the beauty is actually get viewers into a course, and then be able to be making an income along the way. And it's win-win, because you're helping people, you're helping to educate them, you're giving them value, you're receiving value in return. And then on top of that, you're able to get feedback on the material. So then ultimately, how is that going to result? It's going to result in an even stronger message on your part, because you're receiving that feedback along the process, instead of trying to sit down and just knock out a book. For me, it's one of those things where I believe everybody has a different learning style, everybody has a different work style, and I believe that some people, that is what they were put on this earth to do. And so, like, if you have that talent where you are a writer and you sit down and you make it happen, by all means, like, do what works for you. It doesn't work. It didn't work for me. And so we just wanted to find another way. And this was a way of problem solving. That was a problem for us. And so this is a wonderful solution. And so we realized, this is probably the reality for a lot of people out there. So let's offer it for other people too. And so, and why don't we just make a course on it? And so that's what's really exciting about this. And I love this mind shift because it's really helped unlock my work, which makes me realize this is going to unlock so many other people's work. And that's why Coach B and I got together, was to be able to support entrepreneurs like yourself, be able to bring your work out to the world.
That's great, Jen. And often we feel like we're the only one that thinks this way or sees things this way. And don't you know that your book, when it is published, is going to be so much more powerful? Because summary, e-vid book, course, think about all the feedback from that. Think about the audience that you build with that. That will be powerful because you'll have people chomping at the bit, to really get that final book. And I want to say this, all of this together is your branding and your calling card. Okay. So again, as Jen said, if you're a person that's great at writing a book, or you're a celebrity that come and offer you $1 million, as I shared, go for it. But that is not the reality of the majority of people who have a great expertise. I'm talking to Jen about the everyday person who has something to share with the world. And I'm just passionate about helping them get that out there, because I see every day the struggle, Jen. I see every day the struggle of people who are brilliant. You are brilliant. You are so brilliant, it just kills me. And yet, your message is not getting out there. And we want to just, we just really want to help you do that any way that we can. So let me share a little bit in this conversation about why we start with answering the number one question that stumps entrepreneurs. And it's because every time I ask somebody, I said, okay, you're going to do a course because, I'm a coach. Well, how many times a year do you need to do your course, and how many clients do you need, and what are you going to charge? They have no idea. So it's, creating a course, Jen, becomes as daunting as you described writing a book. Okay. And what happens when the task seems too daunting?
You just stagnate. There's no movement.
Yeah. You just go, I'm not doing this. And so I know that these steps are going to move you towards the publishing of that actual hard copy book. And it's going to be much stronger. Think about it. If you just, pulled it out of yourself, begrudgingly, and written that and put it out there, I guarantee you there would be so much that you wanted to change the minute that you read it. I think this process will lend itself to being much more powerful. And when people believe that the work that they're putting out there is much more powerful, their belief carries over to other people. So anyway, the reason we start with answering the number one question that stumps entrepreneurs, that's because it's, how many clients paying how much money and offered how many times a year would help you achieve your revenue goals. And here's the thing. You have to look at it. We don't lead with what is your content, or even what is your course and your idea, because you know what? All of that, Jen, is a dime a dozen. I have all these sayings that I use, but because the reason I say that is, how many coaches do you know, Jen, that have so much content, it's flying all over the place, and this week they'll create some more content? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I what I would love to add to that, Dottie, is that I think what it is that you are bringing up that I think is very important is that, the viewers, they're the expert in their content. They don't, that's not where the support is needed. Where the support is needed is in how to actually do the logistics and create the and understand what the resources that are needed, and all of the ins and outs of the actual creation of the course itself. So it's so I think that that's the really important part, is that, we know you really probably don't need help with your content because you're clearly the expert in your content. You have that. Where you're looking for support is, how do I make this course actually happen? I hear about these online courses, but where do I even start? And so that's what our course is all about.
Yeah, great point, Jen. And that's so true, because I ask people all the time, have you launched your course? And they say no. And the reason they haven't is they simply don't know how. And what happens is they go back to their safety net and where they feel comfortable, which is writing the content. And then they get mired in that, mistaking that as the real action taking. And it is one action, but the action of implementation has got to start sooner than later. And the problem, Jen, as far as I see it, is that with all the stuff that the gurus and the experts, and, I always say the guru is really G-U-R-U, and I heard that from somebody. Gosh, I'm trying to think. I want to give credit, and I can't think of that, the lady's name, but it's not from me, but I like it. Okay, I'll say that much. And but the experts, so much of what they're saying doesn't work. So that's the problem. And so, Jen's great at saying, hey, problem solving. The bottom line is that many of the strategies you've been taught by many of the experts actually nullify the opportunity for quick wins. Now, I want to just define what I mean by that. I used to coach women's basketball at the University of Kentucky. And I just, I'm born to coach. That's my tagline, born to coach. I started when I was like 15 years old, coaching a 10 and under basketball team. And so I don't coach basketball anymore, but I coach entrepreneurs. And I've been, in the entrepreneurial field for 35 years. But when I was coaching basketball, my goal in coaching was to teach players to read the defense, okay? So that they could score quickly when the opportunity presented itself. I never spent the majority of practice. I mean, we talked about what the other team does, but we didn't spend most of our time breaking down what the other team did and going against it. What we did is we concentrated on what we do best, because I didn't want the players coming in the middle of the game going over, hey, Coach B, what do we do now? No, what I wanted them to do is to work on what we do best and work on what they do best, so that in the heat of the moment, in the heat of the game, they could read the defense and score quickly, okay? And this enabled us, Jen, to win and win big. And this is going to enable people who are thinking about a course to win and win big, because what you need is an epic fast start launch. And that's going to be our webinar. If you look on this page, we've got the next one will be about the epic toolbox. And as I said, we're going to be giving you a blueprint that's going to help you go out there and figure out what your PPC concept is in under 20 minutes. And then on that last webinar, we're really going to get into some things about what does it take to fast start the launch and to break the vicious cycle of losing. Because a quick paid offer, okay, Jen, allows for your ideal clients to show up in a space where there's alignment between the two of you, okay? And generate fast results in revenue. Otherwise, it's going to be, you remember that book where it said, he's just not that into you? Well, if you don't pick the community that aligns with you, then they're just not that into you. Doesn't mean you're wrong or your content's wrong. It means you're in the wrong community. And that's not going to generate fast results in revenue. So if you get in alignment, then nothing beats action. We'll say this again, nothing beats the action that can move you forward. So the parallel here, Jen, between what I'm sharing with the basketball analogy and entrepreneurship and creating your online launch is that many of these strategies that you've been told don't work for launching your online course. I mean, blogging's great. E-signs are great. But guess what? All of those things take a long time in order for it to manifest into money. And money's not everything, but I'm going to tell you what, you can't get your message out if you don't create some income, because you start backtracking, you get depressed, you get frustrated, So the solution really that we're talking about is a vehicle that delivers what we call a quick win, because that breeds confidence, and confidence breeds focus, and focus provides momentum, and momentum leads to the quick revenue, and the quick revenue leads to success, And then we just do it over and over again. So, Jen, have you ever been in situations where you experience what it is to be pushing that snowball up the hill, and then all of a sudden you have the tipping point and it moves over to the next area? How do you feel when that happens?
Yes, it's one of those things where, what I love what you were bringing up, and the point that I'd like to bring forward is that, you know, there's something about a value exchange that just encourages all parties involved. So as you are putting your energy out to the world, and as you're bringing this value out, it's very important for you to receive the value back, and how we do that in this day and age is monetary. It's through a financial exchange, and when you get there, when you start, and all of a sudden that idea of the snowball starts rolling, how is that going to make you feel? It's going to make you want to be able to give even more and more value, which then is going to create even more and more value coming back to you. And so that's what it's about, because it's very important. I am a believer of this. This was something that was hard for me to learn. For a long time, I just gave everything away for free because I really felt like, well, it's my service. That's what I need to be doing. But what ended up happening was I was completely drained and I had nothing left to give.
Yeah.
And so what I've learned was that, no, this is why this is important. Overall, people want to pay for the value, because it makes everybody feel good. It makes everybody feel, yes, like this was an equal exchange. And so that's what I think is important to bring forward. And what's great is that it's the best, it's one of the best motivators now. I had no idea how good it would feel to be able to have somebody smile and say, thank you. It means so much to me, and I want to pay you for this because you deserve it. And I want to tell you, you deserve it too. You really do. And so if you're putting all of this energy out there and you're offering all this value, allow that snowball to go over the edge and let it roll so that, you can really do the work that you want to be doing and receive the income. And that's why, this particular structure is so helpful, and why this course is designed the way that it is. It's to support you with figuring out how to do that. Because, it's what we were saying earlier. You are the expert in the content, but what we're assuming is that you've run up to the same problems that we run up to, which is, okay, I have all this content. What the heck do I do with it? And how do I give it out, but also receive value back in return, so that it's an equal energy exchange that's happening. And so that's what this is about, is to be able to support you in that process and teach you how to do that.
Ah, that's fantastic, Jen. And, to take that analogy that we were talking about with the snowball just a bit further, I want you to imagine that either you're passionate about a content that nobody is interested in, or you have great content that people are interested in, but you haven't connected with your market. That's like you single-handedly pushing the snowball up the hill. If you're like a dog on a bone, I'm going to keep using my crazy Southern sayings, but if you're like a dog on a bone, you'll probably make it anyway, but it's going to take a while, okay, to push it by yourself. Imagine if you really went out there and discovered your PPC concept, your passionate, profitable, that's a combination course concept, because you have really looked at the market in a way that we're going to teach you in the next video. And that means now you're not pushing it up by yourself. It's a community, because they're there with you. You see, they're just chomping at the bit to get the next bit of information that you're going to share with them. They can't hardly wait to get it. And so as you bring them into a course, then there's a certain number, and we're going to cover this in the next video, that are going to follow you into the next phase and the next phase. So not only do you have to just, for a course, create your content one time and leverage that, you leverage the initial people that come into your course and do right by them and serve them, and they want to stay with you for as long as you'll offer them value. So really think about how incredibly important that is in this process. So Jen, that's what I really wanted to cover in the next video as we get into this epic blueprint for discovering your PPC concept. I'm going to go in a little bit into the chaos theory, and we'll talk a little bit, Jen, about your model as well. But we're going to give people some tools in this toolbox. Let's consider it an infographic. You know, hey Jen, did we lose you?
I lost you there for a second.
Oh, what happened? You know what? I think we actually I think what happened is we had some sort of glitch in the internet, because I went off and it said ending broadcast, but yeah, the stop broadcast button is still down there. So whatever happened, we had a flash. So
Yep.
we'll just flash here because we're right at the end.
Absolutely, it's perfect timing.
I know, it's great. So anyway, here we are. So I just want to encourage people to go ahead, if you have not clicked on the calculator down there and calculated your epic freedom quotient. That's what you need to know first, because when you see how little it takes, not how massively it takes, the number of people to make you even a little bit of income, you're going to get so excited that you're going to be motivated, okay? And when that happens, you're going to be really motivated to go out there and go through our epic blueprint and go through the exercises to discover exactly, who your audience is and who you could offer this to. And when we pull all that together, then you're going to have the chance to consider, do I want to get into the course with Jen and Coach B and dare to take your epic journey? That's what the book is about. Go ahead right below and click on the book summary. You can go ahead and get the book summary. You can go ahead and calculate your epic freedom quotient. You can go ahead and discover your epic code, because think about this. Once you get your clients, isn't it going to work better when you're talking to them, when you're working with them, if you know what their epic code is and you can speak in their epic language, or even before they come on board with you? If you know their epic language, and guess what? You're going to receive that epic tap tool as part of your course. So you're going to have the ability to code other people. And before you pick up that phone to call somebody, as you're, putting your course together and as you're talking to people, because they're going to have questions and say, can you get on a call with me? You're going to have scripts that we're going to take you through. You're going to have a 30-day getting started plan. You're going to have a year calendar. We're going to take you through the nuts and bolts of that. So it's all going to be there. So go ahead and click on some of these resources that we are sharing with you right now, complimentary, to help you just kind of analyze where you are with creating an online course and how you can get started. So Jen, any parting words from you? I know you always have words of wisdom. Give it up.
Oh, all I'll end with is to say, thank you for taking the time to sit with us through this video, and for reflecting on what it is that you want to bring forward to the world, and remembering, yes, like, you are the expert in the content, and we're here to just support you in bringing that content out to the world. So it's an honor to share this journey with you. It is truly an epic one, and look forward to being able to work with you if you so choose to really dare to take this epic journey. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Jen. And so this is Dottie Berry, aka Coach B. It's been fun sitting here with you on the digital porch. It's just sort of like, if you look out here, I have a front porch, but we've been on the digital one. And I've said for the last few years that it's a combination of high tech and high touch. We love what digital can do today, and we also love getting together in person. So we'll be having live events in the future. It's just going to be a lot of fun to hang as a community and do some things together and watch the successes that we have. There's nothing I love better than watching people succeed and soar. And the eagles are the ones that don't try to go in when the weather gets bad and hide out from the rain. They just go above the clouds. So why don't you come with us, join with us, soar like an eagle, because that's what we intend to do. And we're going to have some great times together. So thanks, Coach Jay. We'll see you on the next Hangout video training, and see everybody else too. Bye for now.
Bye.